Oh, Jesus! Oh, God! Oh, Jesus, God! Oh, Mary, Mother of Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth!
Hello, everyone. I wanted to take this time to do like a last minute sort of prediction and sort of theory run about the upcoming Fallout TV show, as we're about one day ahead of its release. I'm kind of rushing through the production of this video because Amazon announced they're moving the release date up one more time by an extra day, and that kind of threw my plans for a bit of a loop. So I'll begin with my theories about the characters. We'll start with the character of Maximus. I think Maximus is going to become a villain throughout the course of the first season. Some of the dialogue we hear from Maximus in the trailers and the promotional materials don't really depict him as the most stable of individuals.
Why did you join the Brotherhood?
To hurt the people who hurt me?
I believe that when we first meet him in the show, he's going to present as something of a good guy, something of an ally for Lucy. But I think over time, as the characters develop and they truly come to understand one another, the cracks are going to start to show in Maximus, and some of his flaws are going to come to light, and perhaps his mission of upholding the Brotherhood's sort of goals and of course hurting the people who hurt him is going to conflict with the more idealistic worldview that Lucy seems to have. I think this is going to be sort of emblematic in the line that he speaks to Lucy about everybody wanting to save the world, just having a different idea of how to do it.
Everyone wants to save the world, they just disagree on how.
Part of my reasoning as to why I believe Maximus will become a villain is that we see this character right here. This is obviously a member of the Brotherhood, or at least it's somebody who's capable of wearing the Brotherhood's power armor. And we know that this is the model that Maximus wears based off of the fact that we see him wearing it in much of the promotional material. Now, in this very short clip, even though it's a very small, very quick scene of this Brotherhood member walking through what is obviously a vault, we could tell based off of their posture and the way that they're walking, it's pretty aggressive. And it seems like perhaps he's chasing somebody or he's just not in a good mood. And I would say perhaps we could see Maximus pursuing Lucy back to her vault and then breaking in some way, either because he's after her or because she had some type of technology that he wanted to claim for the Brotherhood that she took in order to save her vault. And perhaps the sort of the final boss of the first season will be Lucy having to find a way to take down a trained soldier in power armor. I also just noticed while I was editing this video that the background of this image looks very similar to the exterior of Vault 33, so perhaps this could be a shot of Maximus outside the vault. I also note that this scratch mark almost completely obliterates the Brotherhood of Steel logo on the chest, perhaps signifying that Maximus has gone rogue and perhaps doesn't care about the Brotherhood anymore. Maybe he never did to begin with. As for the Ghoul, I believe the Ghoul is going to be a bit of the opposite. I believe that at the start of the first season, the Ghoul is going to be somebody we readily identify as a bit of a villain, who's after Lucy for whatever reason, whether it's the people she associates with or the fact that she's a vault dweller. And we know the Ghoul character most likely has some type of bone to pick with Vault-Tec as a whole, and he probably isn't aware of the fact that Vault residents are victims of Vault-Tec as well. Prior to becoming a Ghoul, Cooper Howard was obviously something of a spokesman for Vault-Tec, and I believe that on the day of the Great War he is either turned away or perhaps is admitted to a vault that has some sort of experiment. Perhaps he and his daughter are granted admission into Vault 2, which is beneath Bakersfield, which in Fallout 1 was revealed to have a door that was rigged to not fully close, which exposed the residents to radiation from the outside and thus turned them into the first ghouls. However, I believe that as he and Lucy come to understand one another over the course of the first season, I believe that he'll turn into a more of a hero character, being reminded of his good side and of the good nature that humans can possess. Now, as for the Brotherhood of Steel, we see that the Brotherhood of Steel seems to be turning into more of a religious cult-like faction, not unlike how they were in the first Fallout game. However, I do want to say that I do not believe this is the East Coast Brotherhood of Steel, nor do I believe it is the West. I've mentioned before in a previous video that this airbase we see the Brotherhood at in most of the promotional material is a real location in the real state of Utah. And I believe that this is a Midwestern chapter of the Brotherhood of Steel that is using this airship, the Caswanen, or the Caswanen, to fly west and to either attack the NCR or attack the NCR and sort of assist the Lost Hills chapter in sort of regaining its strength in the region. I say this because, for one, if we're expected to believe that they are already on the West Coast and this is just a West Coast chapter, well, then I'm curious as to wondering why the airship is in the show. It seems like something that would be very expensive in terms of effects budget, and then for it to just be there to look cool just seems to me like a bit of a waste, and I don't see something like that being introduced if it's not going to be used in the story in some regard. Overall, though, I think we'll spend a very brief amount of time in this location, watching Maximus train and be selected by a knight to be sort of his squire, so that he can mentor Maximus into a proper member of the Brotherhood. Maximus will swear his oath of fraternity here at this altar, and then the soldiers who are being sent on this crusade will gather for their mission to be blessed, and then they will head on their ship and they will fly west. And that will bring Maximus into the main plots with Lucy and the Ghoul. As for this researcher and his dog, a lot of people have seen the dog's name and assumed that it's going to be like a synthetic dog, like a synth. I disagree. I believe that this man is some type of researcher, obviously, some type of scientist. And I believe he's been experimenting on the dog, and this is just the designation he gave it, because if you give it a name, you'll get attached. As for what this guy's motivations are, I have zero evidence to support this theory. But my belief is that this man is trying to become a sort of reincarnation of sorts of the Master from Fallout 1. Perhaps he wants the Master's intelligence and his psychic abilities. And he believes that if he does it, it'll work this time. Legitimately, my only form of evidence is the fact that he injects himself in what looks like his brainstem with some type of tube. Perhaps to inject himself with FEV, I'm not quite sure. And also, I believe that this crater that Lucy and Maximus are standing near is either this giant nuke that goes off in one of the trailers, or it's perhaps the ruins of the cathedral where the Master was killed in Fallout 1. Alright, well, that's all. If any other theories or ideas or details pop into my mind, I'll mention them in the comments below. Other than that, though, I'm looking forward to the show, and I hope you are as well, and most importantly, of course, I hope that you enjoyed the show. I'm sure I will in some way or another. Regardless, though, of what the future may hold, I hope that you all remember to be happy, be healthy, and above all else, be good to one another. Take care.